As an awakened soul, you walk dimensions and see through dimensions that many people cannot. And so as you begin this new year, it is time for you to fully integrate with your new reality and who it is that you truly are. And that comes with you understanding that there is just a lot of things that you will see that a lot of people cannot see, and it is not your job or your responsibility to make them see, because the path that led you to here was experience. Okay, it was the things that you got to experience that allowed you to be able to see what was right in front of your eyes. And so when it comes to other people, understand that you cannot rob them of this experience. And if you feel called to be a teacher and to share this information and knowledge, find a platform or write a book. Find a way that you can share this information so that those that are ready come to you, instead of you being the one that's like forcing this information onto your friends or family because they may not be ready. And just remember that before you became aware of this knowledge and information, it wasn't so obvious until you realized it, until something clicked in your awareness and you were able to see things in a way that they are so obvious, and you thought, how did I not know this before? But just because you can see it doesn't mean that they can. And as an awakened soul, understand that it isn't that you are superior, you know what I mean, or more intellectual. It is simply that this is the journey that your soul has decided to go through. When it comes to expansion and awareness, understand that it means that you cannot show up in the world the way that you used to. So when you see certain things, you can't unsee them. You know what I mean? And it means that you can't have the same relationships as you used to. And you can't have the same relationship with the world as you used to. And so not everybody chooses this path, and there's a good reason for it. And so just understand that this is what your soul was ready for, and everybody else is still a part of source itself, right? So when we think of like source or the universe or God or the collective consciousness, whatever it is that you want to call it, understand that this whole entire experience of awareness, we are all going through it. We are still part of the divine, regardless of where it is that we are on our journey. And so it's not necessarily about you trying to force awakening so that we can all shift the world. It's about the few that choose this level of awakeness in this reality, in this dimension. And it is about embodiment. So the few that choose to go this far and see reality for what it is and remember this much of themselves, it is about them embodying this frequency. It isn't about the world. It's about you. Okay, and yes, this very frequency shifts the whole entire plane here in the 3D, if we want to call it that. But it's about you. It's about you embodying your remembrance in this experience. And it's like a miracle in itself. And so the path that you walk, you've no idea how many people will end up following this path. A lot of us, the people that we end up inspiring, or the most people we end up inspiring, aren't even the people that we know. You know what I mean? Like think of all this the ancient spiritual teachers. Like think of even Jesus Christ. Think of like those that came before us. It wasn't until way after, or Nikola Tesla, it wasn't until way after that like people were inspired by their work. The whole point isn't for you to awaken everybody. It is for you to embody what you have awakened into, and to allow yourself to be fully in this experience, because there's a reason why your soul has chosen this journey. And so what it is that you do, because I do understand that when we first awaken, we step into this teacher frequency where it's like, okay, now that I know, it is my responsibility to help other people understand. But not everybody's a teacher. And just because you've had events in your past that have led you, and some people have forced them to see the world in a different way, it doesn't mean that that's your duty and responsibility, because you don't want to be a condition of your past, right? You want to be able to move past that. So I'll give you an example, like empaths, right? People that feel a lot and tend to see things because of the emotional capacity they have and awareness and maturity, right? A lot of those people tend to have been traumatized in their childhood, and so they think that it's their responsibility to carry the emotion of the world on their shoulders, and that's not true at all. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, your past has led you to becoming something else and to see the world in depthness, but it doesn't mean that you have to be a product of your past. You can choose to do whatever you want, you know what I mean? And so understand that not every spiritual awakened soul is a teacher or has to do certain things, you know what I mean? Some of us just came here to like fully enjoy our lives and just, you know, see how we can take this experience of the union and the remembrance of the soul and the spirit in this human experience, and just see like how far we can take this experience, you know what I mean? Some of us came to learn how to do magic, if you want to call it that, the integration of the spirit and the body. And some of us came here to have families. Some of us came here to just enjoy being human. It's like, I know that we can understand that, okay, I'm on a mission, I'm on a mission, but the mission isn't what you think. It's to be alive, it's to have experience, you know, it's to be here. So don't think that there's a million things that you have to do for the world, but more like think about it as this. There's things that you want to do for yourself and your soul and your spirit, and that includes your lineage, that includes everything that is about you. But understand that it is by being yourself that you, let's say, not even interfere, but that you help the world, let's call it that. It is by embodiment, it is by you following your dreams and your desires that you assist the frequency of this earth, but also you assist others that are on the same frequency or would like to be on the same frequency. You inspire people by just being yourself, by just embodying all that you are, you know what I mean? So just understand that you haven't been given an impossible task of awakening the masses, and that you have this responsibility, heavy weight on your shoulder now as a result of what you can see. You can choose to just enjoy your life, and matter of fact, you don't actually even have to do anything. So this year of new beginnings, understand that you are here, especially in this year 2026, to embody everything that you know. You are here to start new. You can recreate yourself into anything that you desire. You are a blank canvas. You can wake up today, wake up tomorrow, and just decide to show up as a completely different person. And that is entirely okay. Understand that your experience is yours, okay? And your experience is, at the center of this experience is you, or at least your self-image. Because in this realm, in this reality on this planet, the way that we get to experience reality is through our own lenses, our self-image of how it is that we perceive ourselves, right? And when a soul remembers all that it is shedding skin, like literally physical matter, and energetic too, of the image, the self-image that it had built based on not knowing who it was, like based on like starting over again. It's like you come here and you're a blank canvas and you get to recreate yourself, okay? And so a lot of souls recreate themselves based on the external noise, and like other people shape who they are, and they don't feel in control of that, nor do they want to take control of that too, right? And that's also another experience to have. But understand that the spiritually awakened soul, they remember who they are. Something happens, or they've always known, because everybody knows, and they reconnect back to the self outside the body, outside who they are being told that they should be. And so the most important part of this experience is for you to continue having this experience, but with full knowledge and awareness of who it is that you are powerful, that you are infinite, and that powerlessness and limitation are just an illusion. And you don't need to, earn your worth. You don't need to earn anything. When you remember, you understand that you never had to do anything to earn your existence here, because the experience in itself, awareness itself, existing in itself is the mission. So do you understand? There is no other mission other than to be alive. And that is the most freeing thing that you can ever learn, especially as a spiritually awakened soul, because we can tend to just pick up so much weight. It could be such a heavy burden because we are walking in a world that is asleep, and so we can experience how incredible it feels to be awake, you know, to be fully alive. And we understand that this is our natural state, and as a result we have this tendency to want to awaken everybody else too. But understand that even the concept of being awake or being asleep, like, that is an invention of this physical reality. I mean, when it comes to consciousness itself, it is both asleep and awake, which is why when we exist outside time and separation and duality of this dimension, basically this 3D, when we exist outside all the different dimensions, consciousness is, there's one moment that's taken place, right? And it is awakening for the very first time. So I think this is what I made this video. I think it's my first video here, and I was talking about how we are all just one consciousness in awakening, awareness, getting to know what awareness is for the very first time. So everything is experiencing itself for the very first time as one, and we are just an expression, an experience of that awakening. So the only moment that is real is consciousness becoming aware of itself. You know, what was my original point? So the soul that awakens before everybody else, you're like the light in the darkness, right? But your job isn't to go and force your light into the eyes of those around you. It can be a sensitive thing to see light after only seeing darkness for such a long time. So you have to understand that the light exists and they can feel it. You don't even need to force it. Like when somebody has their eyes closed and a light comes through, they can still see that light even though their eyes are closed. So understand that some people are in that process of preparing to open their eyes and take in light for the first time, because the very essence of this whole entire experience is consciousness literally opening its eyes and seeing itself for the very first time, awareness becoming awareness for the very first time. It's just all unfolding, and during this unfolding, everything that could ever be, that has ever existed, is within this opening. So it's like, imagine consciousness opening its eyes for the very first time and then seeing itself as an infinite being and trying to understand, what is this? What does it even mean to be awake? I am aware of myself. What does that mean? And so understand that, you know, when we talk about the creation and we talk about in the beginning, well, I was going to say was a word, but let's go back to the creator itself, right? Let's go back to the creator. So you could call it God, you could call it the collective consciousness, you could call it source. I like source because I feel like the word God has a lot of meanings here in this realm, so I'm gonna go with source. But when you think about, in the beginning was source, and then out of source, out of himself, out of herself, it doesn't matter, source, everything that is created, everything that is called the creation comes from the creator. So you have to understand that everything that we see right now, as the consciousness is becoming aware of itself, we are that awareness. We are that which it is becoming aware of for the very first time. So understand that everything that exists is part of it, and there is no separation, there is no distortion, there is no good or bad, there is no, you know what I mean, there is no like awakened versus asleep. It's all just one. But the way we are experiencing it is because as it is becoming aware of itself, it is looking at every aspect of itself, and so it can appear like time is a thing because of whatever it is that it chooses to focus on creates an infinite timeline of itself, and that goes on forever. So imagine like being the most high source itself, and imagine, and it doesn't have a physical body, but for explaining this information, let's pretend we're gonna go with based on a physical body, okay? And let's say I look at my arm, and within my arm is universes upon universes, like the whatever this is, it goes on forever. So the more I look, the more I see. And if you were to take a microscope, can I speak? And you were to focus in on this hand, you will see a world that goes on forever, right? So first there's the skin, the blood vessels, the muscles, and the ligaments, and then there's the blood. Within the blood there's the cells. Within the cells there's all these protons, and then there's all this energy, and it just goes on infinitely, right? Until when? Until I come back again. It's like looking up at the sky, looking for a source, and seeing yourself, looking back at yourself, because everything is one. So outside this, when you go within, you will come back out. That's the concept, right? So imagine that consciousness is becoming aware of itself for the very first time, and as it looks at an aspect of itself, that narrative, whatever it is looking at, that is infinite. So that's why this whole process is just one experience, awareness getting to know itself, because it is infinite itself, and we are part of that story. This is why the awakened soul versus the one that's asleep, like, technically one is not better than the other, because it's just two experiences, two expression, two sides of the same coin. It's one experience. One would not exist without the other. For me to be awakened, I would have to be asleep, and to be asleep would mean that being awakened is also within me. You know what I mean? Like, one does not exist without the other. And I think that we can tend to ranking things is part of the physical as well, because we exist in duality and polarities, where we can tend to rank every experience as one being better than the other. But where it is that you are in your journey right now, what I'm getting is that you're ready to see beyond the polarities and beyond the divisions, and you are ready to see reality for what it is. And honestly, it's not what you thought. Like, it's not like, because I think when we start this journey, we think it's going to be like just absolutely crazy and chaos, and yes, it's going to be light and love, but there's just so much, and there's so much. And I think when you finally understand that what this world truly is about, you kind of settle a little bit, you're calmer. At the beginning of this experience, there was so much that you were not aware of, that you were like, it's like a kid walking into a candy store for the first time and just seeing that there's not just one. Like, there is so many things that you've never seen before, right? So you were so excited, you were so overwhelmed as well by all the different colors, but most importantly, just excited about this new reality that you just walked into. Like Alice in Wonderland, it's all exciting, it's all new. And then after a while, when you let it all settle in and you become grounded in this new level of awareness, it becomes normal. And you start to realize that there's this calm after the storm. The storm revealed everything to you after breaking it all apart. And then you thought you had to fix it and make it better. But when you realize it is perfect the way it is, and that the storm and the world before and the world after, like, it is all part of just one world. There's no separation. You know, there's no better. There's no, when you realize that your highest self or your highest soul is you right now having this experience. From the beginning of this experience, it was them, and this is you right now, and they never went anywhere, and you don't have to do anything to achieve that state, and you are good enough right now as you are. Like, you don't have to become better. That is just you right now having this experience as you are. And a lot of people can understand it as, you know, temporal amnesia, for example. And I don't know if you've ever watched like Rings of Power, like the TV show of Lord of the Rings. When Gandalf falls here on Earth, at first he forgets his memories, he forgets who he is, and he forgets his own name, right? And it's very powerful. I'm gonna look into the name thing, but when you forget who it is that you are, you're kind of experiencing things for the very first time. You don't know what is considered bad or what is good. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of exist outside those things. And it was important for him, because if he had come here knowing who he was, then he wouldn't have formed the relationships that he did. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that is beneath you or too small. Everything is equally important, and that's why he had to learn. But even though he had forgotten who he was, he still had access to his powers. This is what I want you to focus on right now. Even though you may perceive those around you to be asleep, it doesn't mean that they're not still, let's call it, a god or source itself. See, if I say they are gods, people will feel maybe uncomfortable, right? But when I say, it doesn't mean that they are not source in expression, you might not feel as much resistance, right? So don't get too lost on or tied down by words and vocabulary, because it can't truly express what is unfolding. It can't truly express consciousness or reality. We don't have words for those kind of things, you know what I mean? So don't get too lost on it. Just choose a better fitting word for you, one where you're not creating resistance within yourself, you know what I mean, or within other people as well. If you can see that people are uncomfortable with a certain word, find a better word. Some people are just, a lot of words are tied down to so much frequency and vibrations of distortion anyways, that you know, they may distort the message in general. So if you need to find a better word, that's fine, but understand that, or you could say fallen angel, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't mean that he wasn't a super being, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you are not what you are. So when you look around you and you see things that other people don't see, it doesn't mean that they are not also special just like you. They're just choosing to experience a version of themselves where they are recreating themselves anew without the memories, because that is how this whole experience becomes infinite, right? It is the constant rebirth. It's the constant starting over again and again and again, and recreating yourself, because within your blueprint you have the same structures as before. You have the experience that you've had. Don't forget that within our DNA, like, we know exactly who we are. It can be traced back to the beginning. You've never truly forgotten. But when it comes to your mind, when it comes to what you're immediately aware of, it is important sometimes that we just focus on what we are looking at right now, instead of everything else. So as consciousness is becoming aware of itself, it is focusing on what is in front of it, and it looks at it wholeheartedly, right? It's like, imagine you're interacting with somebody and you're in the present moment. You are seeing them. You are here. You're not in your mind. You're not somewhere else. You're not in the past. You're not in the future. You are truly, truly here. That is the gift. Because by being here in this present moment, you are going to appreciate and see this person for who they truly are, outside anything else, because you can give it your full attention. When you can give your full focus and your attention, that is life itself. That is when life reveals itself to you, because you're not trying to be somewhere else or force the narrative to be anything that it isn't. If I was to tell you that each present moment is absolutely perfect, that where it is that you are right now is absolutely perfect, that who it is that you are right now is a perfect creation, a perfect being, and that you lack nothing, how does that make you feel? You don't need to achieve anything anymore. You don't have to chase this highest self anymore. You are whole already. Everything that you seeked is actually already within you. If I was to tell you that, what would you say? Because a lot of people would think, well, what would keep us moving? What would keep us going? You don't think about breathing, and yet you don't stop to breathe. That is how evolution works. Like, you couldn't stop moving if you tried. Energy is always in motion. But you have chosen a dimension where, you know, you get to experience things like time, where you get to focus on anything that you want and make it eternal, make it last forever, in here and in here. And that is the power and the blessings. That's the miracle of the present moment, you know, to focus in, because in reality, technically, there's only two timelines. There's the past and there's the future, and then there's us actually existing outside time itself. This is so crazy. This is why time's like absolutely insane. We are existing outside the past and the future, and we call it the now. But do we even understand what the now is? Because the now is a constant flow of the past and the future. It's like there's two sides of the same coin. The past is one and the future is the other. The future being the potential that has yet to be experienced. So technically, it's similar to the past. You've just yet to see it, but it doesn't mean that it does not exist, right? So we're measuring time based on what we choose to focus on. And so imagine that the present, the now, is awareness. You're holding the coin in your hands, and you're experiencing both the head and the tail, and you're flipping it, and you're seeing it, and you can't unsee that it has two sides: the side that you're looking at right now and the side that you've yet to see. But the minute that you see the other side, it becomes the past, and the minute you see the other side, it becomes the potential, the future. So it's like two timelines that are actually one, and the only difference is where it is that you're placing your attention, right? So when you start to understand that there is no division, there is no duality, everything is actually just one, and everything is perfect as it is because you came here to experience that. You came here to slow down time itself and exist in an illusion. Well, not even an illusion, but to choose where it is that you direct your attention so you can have fun. That's the purpose. To have fun, to experience getting to know yourself over and over again. And so understand that there is no mission. The only mission is to be alive and to exist. And as this new year starts, ask yourself, if I'm already perfect and there's nothing that I need to do, what would I like to do today? How does living in the moment look like for me? You know, so get rid of the weight, the heavy burden of all these million of things that you have to do, and just focus on enjoying now, because everything you've ever imagined and wanted, it already has happened. So just focus on enjoying the now. And I guess Happy New Year's, you guys. This energy, let me know if it makes sense, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about, okay? I think this new year is starting off as we're wiser, and there's less drama, there's less stress. It's more about embodiment and just being and just existing with no pressure and allowing reality to just carry us like a wave. There's nothing you need to worry about. That thing you were worried about, guess what? It's already taken care of. And you're not going to find out whether it's taken care of until you get there. So for now, what are you worried about? Wait until you get there and find out. It's already taken care of. And it'll take practice, conscious awareness, but for as long as you have this in your head, okay, it's already taken care of, and then once I get there, I'll find out how it's already taken care of. I don't need to worry about this right now. I'll just exist in the moment and see what reality wants to show me. If you can just maintain this in your mind, this year is going to be like no other, and it's going to be effortless, infinite peace and joy, and you're going to see yourself in a different light, and you're also going to see reality as a result in a completely different light. So I can feel that my energy is like, so that means it's time to go. But again, any questions in the comments, and Happy New Year, you guys. You should be so proud of yourselves, okay? That's all I have energetically. I'm gonna go to bed. Like literally, you could tell my energy went, and as it was released, I'm like, I need to rejuvenate, okay? So much love, you guys.